Hey everyone, how you doing? My name is John Cost. I am a course director at Full Sail University. I teach the class AVT, and I partner with audio production for the town hall project at the end of each month. And so a lot of the times our guests are remote, coming into us from Zoom or something like that. So I am here to teach you a little bit more that you can do as a Zoom guest to elaborate further on your content you're bringing to us. Sometimes we get stuck with having just one host on the stage, and then one visual, whether it's an interface or it's the person's their video feed and all that. But we want to make sure that whatever it may be, we can add more dynamics to it. So here I am in my living room, my own little home studio. I have solid 3-point lighting. Lighting's always important. And I'm just simply using what is called the continuity camera from my iPhone. So if I point at it, it is not the camera in my computer, it is another one, which gives us a lot of features and elements that make the show look better, like being able to move and the camera slowly moves with it, but also give this slight bokeh effect, things like that. So if I do put my arm out, normally it'll move, but also, I mean, you could do dumb effects like give us a thumbs up and there it goes, right? So these little attributes are things that add to production value. So to do this, I am going to show you how I'm making this video as I make this video. It will be an insight onto using OBS for any recording you want. So just a great training overall, but also understanding that OBS is utilized in Zoom, but it's only the video. We have to bring the audio in separate, and I will show you how to do that, okay? So right now I'm wearing headphones, and honestly, nothing's coming to me. So I'm just wearing them, but I will be using additional content from my little interface here. It's a little podcast interface, and to show you this type of stuff, okay? You can see on the screen that I have meters of audio coming in and different things like that. So why do I have two instances of me? What am I looking at? Well, let's take a break from that and go into a simple mode, okay? So I'm gonna deselect what is called studio mode, which is legitimately having a studio, a switcher for your computer. And if we leave that, we just get the one block, okay? So I made 4 separate scenes for our educational purposes of today, and each one of them has a purpose. Like the first one is just my face. It's my face, but I can roll in, you'll see, the lower thirds. I can also roll in, let's take those out, and roll in, well, I don't remember, so I'll just click on, and we'll talk about what are called hotkeys in a second, but my information. So up here is my information if you do need to contact me, jcost@fullsail.edu, and 610-393-7987, personal device. So please hit me up on email first, but if it's, we're during a show and you really need to get a hold of me, that is a great way to go. All right. So with that, I can lose it. Now, I've been using hot commands for a lot of other things, but I forget which hot command I used. So we'll look that up. Great. Other things are, of course, my camera coming in and my microphone. And hopefully my microphone's not too bad. That my headphone's not hitting it, and I apologize if it did. That is the downside of OBS, is that you cannot nicely monitor your audio through headphones or cans or anything, okay? So I would have to play this back and see what it is, but also now I'm cognizant of it, so we're going to be a little bit more gentle when it comes to that. But I'm using a Sennheiser wireless system. It's in my back pocket and it's going right over there. And that is going into my interface, okay? Any mic works. I could use my phone. So you would just select what you want. So when we build these things, they don't just happen to be here. We simply hit plus, and the plus then will allow us to do very many things, okay? So one would be your audio input. And this would be a microphone or music or anything that you want to input into your computer. Now my interface is very simple, and it allows us to bring content into it, and then USB-C into the computer. So when I click on it, I'm going to create new, and it's called this Fifine SC3. Honestly, it's fine. It's great. It is $50 on Amazon, and I love it because if I'm doing just quick educational things, it worked great. But I know a lot of you are in the audio world. Oops, I bet my audio is doubling now. I know a lot of you are probably in the audio world, so you might have better gear, and that's awesome. And I guarantee your gear will work perfectly. I should mention as I go on that we need to be careful of everything we have as we build our scenes, because it can replicate and things aren't always present to us. The other thing is everything I'm doing is on a Mac, okay? And everything I'm setting you as the remote guest with is on a Mac. So I'm simply going to remove that microphone, and yes, I want to do it. But if we come down here, we can click this, and we can see all the actual mics coming in. And well, my mic actually has the monitor on and off, but I'm not hearing it. And I think I would know why. Okay, we can check that in a moment. And then we're going to go, and this is our video capture device. And our video capture device here shows that there is no audio being monitored, but also I have it down to 0 dB. Because that is the camera. You can rename these, but that is my actual phone camera that is providing our video for today. So we're going to head and close that. Also, just a quick note, make sure you're on Do Not Disturb as you are recording or sharing. It's a simple thing we all forget to do, but I had to make sure that I'm aware on Do Not Disturb. And sometimes you'll hear beeps and stuff like that. A lot of this stuff, if I could come down here, and I have my system settings right here, those beeps and everything, you can turn them down all the way that you won't hear them, okay? So I have what is called, my output right now is a iPad record out. This is an aggregated device, meaning that it's customized by myself. I don't know exactly what it was that I was recording with. However, we can look into that by going, and I'm going to search on a Mac, I just look MIDI audio setup, but it's audio MIDI setup. And then here we can see that we have the cam link and nothing. Okay, I was using AirPods when I was kind of setting this up. So what I'd actually want to do is click on this, and the moment I do this, I will start hearing myself through the monitor. And now I do. However, it's at a delay, so you could already see my voice has may have been kind of dragging or slurring and stuff like that, it's very difficult to hear yourself at a delay. So I always recommend not monitoring your own audio, but any audio, and again, that was easy to turn off by going to the gears under the audio mixer, oops, to the gears here, and turning off that, and we should be good to go. We're still getting an output. So the other output, I had to make that is because I'm running, you're seeing the recording one of two ways as I cut through this, is the actual inside what I'm making in OBS, but I'm also recording externally to another device that is the whole screen. I could do that within the Mac, however, that's extra processing, and anytime you want to do streaming or recording or the virtual camera, you want to keep your processes down as much as possible. You may see right down here, I'm just using roughly 20% of my CPU power. I do have an older Mac, but that's still kind of rough. So we have a stream option up here. I have a lot of experience streaming with YouTube, which makes it nice and easy. And I'll show you the preferences of that. I have a record option, and that is actually recording this content that I'm making within the actual OBS window on my computer. This is the virtual camera, and we're going to work a lot with this today, as that's the main goal of bringing this camera into Zoom. And then we have our studio mode, which is where we can cut back and forth, and we'll play with that because that's a lot of fun and a lot easier to do things. Here is settings. This is your overall system settings. You can get to that also by up here in OBS, Open Broadcast Software, the different stream settings, like you don't need to link your account, you just need to get that stream key, and various different things. Like here are the hotkeys I was talking about. Now hotkeys are different than shortcuts, excuse me, because hotkeys will work no matter what the situation is. If you're in a different application, these hotkeys have the permission to work. So here's my lower third, and then I never gave this one so I'm going to do Option X, Option X. Now make sure that the hotkey is not something you would typically use in the software you'd be running aside of it, or that would be a problem. So it will just trigger random things. When I first started with this, not understanding the whole complexity behind it, I would make it, 1, 2, 3, and then I type 1, 2, 3, and it's messing up my Zoom stream, my YouTube stream, and then that would be an issue. So now having a better understanding, I'm able to move on. So getting started with OBS is really simple. We need to download it, of course, and we're going to download it from obsprojects.com. obsprojects.com has 3 different flavors: Windows, Mac, and Linux. Again, for demonstration purposes, because I only have a Mac to show you, I will show you that the Mac comes in the Intel or the Mac OS Apple Silicon. And so this is going to be for the M1s, M2s, and later on version of the Apple. Okay, so just make sure you have this correct one, and it kind of looks like our page. You can add and adapt and do whatever you want. Okay, so it's very simple. It is free, and they have a lot of really cool stuff on here. I will also say that if you need to figure out something, you can, rely on Google for a lot, and you'll find a lot of help within forums and stuff like that. So, I've never seen a super formal training on it, but playing around and looking up what I might need has always been very helpful. Okay. And then once you're installed, you do the typical installation, and then you're going to have to check out the review app permissions. These permissions, you can see mine are already granted, are allowing for things like screen record, camera, microphone, and accessibility in order for the hotkeys to work without needing to be in OBS. It's very helpful if we're in Zoom or if we're in an application that you are showcasing to have the hotkeys. And maybe have a post-it written down of what your hotkeys are, because it can be kind of troublesome if you don't. Okay, so as we're set up now, I brought in a camera, I brought in a mic, I can do a lot more. But now I'm going to go to my studio mode, and I remember my hotkey is Option 2 for my next one, and then I'm going to do Option F to fade it in, Option F, I hit Command F, excuse me, and here is my background of my computer and me. So we have both. So if I was showing an application, I could do that in there. And if not, then you can also look at this. And I have this little dynamic background that it was just something I kind of, let me go down to this so you can see it, kind of put together. And so if we hide it, it's just black, and we put it together, and then you can lock your sources, stuff like that. I want to show you that it's very easy to resize. As long as you're not locked here, you can resize your image however you want, okay? And that goes with any image. As long as it's not locked, it'll resize, and you can make it bigger than the screen. And if you do, it is going to go off the edge like this. Typically, when it's off the edge, you want to start with the upper left little handle there and work your way down. It does not, it doesn't move or track or scroll like a designing application. So that's your pivot point to scaling down, down, down to fit, and then bringing up. So it's a little bit different if you're used to working in Illustrator or even Premiere, what have you. Okay, so we brought that in. But when I brought this in, it gives you a lot of choices. So I can right-click or hit this gear when it's selected, and it's called Properties. It's also up here. So when we hit Properties, it is my display capture. This is what's on my stuff. Some files over here, widgets over here, and it is mocking the feed to the other recorder. You can actually hide OBS from this, because if I'm showing you my screen right now and I uncheck hide OBS, well, there's OBS, and it's an instant of an instance of an instance of itself. So this is I feel a fairly new feature that is definitely worth the while. You can show or hide your cursor, so even though I'm moving inside here, you might be able to see a little cursor that's following along. But the method is where it's at. So I can do my whole display. I could do just a window, or I could do just an application. So if I have something loaded up, okay, let me hit cancel to this right now, but I'll come out here and let's go to, I have this guy, and just click off of it. It's in the background, cool. And now I'm going to go back to my screen, and I'll hit this one. Cancel. Where did it go? That's it. That's it. All right. That was odd. I guess it's because I popped out. So I can go right to the application, and now you're going to see nothing but the application. Okay. Oh, you have to pick the application. Silly. Safari, and there it is. That is the application. However, this isn't always reliable, because if you are using an application that uses plugins or additional windows that pop up or things like that, it may or may not show in OBS the correct way. So I'm saying, like, I know in the past when I'd be in Illustrator designing something and I'd open up another window or an effect that's kind of off panel, it may have showed up white or just didn't show up. So that's when you go from that to just the window capture and then you select the window you want, but this is also very finite of very specific windows. So you might just be best with display capture. And then just show what you need to show. If you're working with a secondary display, you can say which one it is. And I know a lot of Macs have powers to be several displays, so that might help as well. I'm going to click OK to that. I'm just going to leave my display up there. And then everything else, this is just a video that's rolling in. You can see the thing here, and it's just set to loop. Okay. Now my mic in, you see, is equal to the mic in here. If you continue using this specific mic in instance, it will travel with you and be the audio for, or any of these. If I wanted the same capture device or the same screen settings, that's why when you make a new one, like let's do video capture device, it says I can make a new one or use the one I already had, and that way it's all the same and we can put them in these different scenes. Now these scenes are going to be built up like your camera sources on a switcher, or if you're more comfortable with thinking about a display and different HDMIs, going through that. So you can see me that I'm in the picture-in-picture, but if I go to 3, that is just screen. I can do my command 3, and you'll see it's just my screen when I go. Actually, my screen capture is off a bit. I wonder why. Well, I'm just making it a little tidy before I take it. And here I'm going to do option C is going to cut. So I'm not sure why it's not perfectly in there, but it should be. Just odd. Resolutions get goofy sometimes, but we still get the point across, okay? And then if I go into 4 is going to be a playback of something. So I'm going to do command 4, and you don't see it right now. And then so while we're in command 4, I'm going to fade and play at the same time and go. It can't find it. Oh no. So if it can't find it, this is the window you're going to get. Yeah, no, that's it. So let's cut to it. Ready this. Option C. Oh, there it goes. 5th, and now it's running. And hopefully last test so I can't hear the audio of this, but there is its own audio. This I wouldn't mind hearing. So
like device,
I can mute it. That's what I accidentally did there.
Preamps
but we can go into the properties of the audio.
And of course,
I'm sorry,
wireless mic system that I'm using.
Of all the audio in this
right now,
thing.
it is set.
And this one is monitor output. And now I'm just going to bring it up in my.
Is slightly above Unity.
There we go.
That's Unity.
So I'm hearing that back to me now. That was literally yesterday, so I don't know why I look completely different.
5th and.
But anyway, we're going to go into the final portion of this, okay? So we talked about OBS, why it exists, what is the need of it, and then what we can do with it. We can add so much more elements. Again, at any time, they only live in this one, but I can add my info, right? And that's just a quick, easy graphic I made. Or my lower third, okay? And these are just key commands. You don't see me doing too much in adding these. But at the same time, I can ready a new camera, and I'm not in studio mode, so as soon as I hit the second source or the picture-in-picture, it's just going to cut to the picture-in-picture, okay? And so let's back to this, and we're going to go. the studio mode gives you a nice kind of buffer that I want to go to picture. Oh, no. I wanted to go to full screen like that. Okay. But starting the Zoom, the OBS virtual cam. OBS virtual cam can be used in a lot of different instances, and you're going to want to take your output type as program. That's obviously the main feed coming out. So this is just audio, wrong thing, video from OBS itself. And let's head to Zoom and talk about what we do there. So I'm just going to punch up Zoom the old-fashioned way, and we'll see what's going on. And we're waiting. Okay. And don't forget your preferences in OBS, stuff like that, to see what you can customize. And use this for more than just Zoom calls, but use it for streaming, recording, making content creation material. You know, it's helpful to have a decent lighting situation. I have 3 lights going, and everything else is very basic. Wish I had a camera over my shoulder to show you that, but here we are. We're in Zoom, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is go to Zoom Preferences, and we're going to go to Video, and it already has set up our OBS virtual camera, excuse me. I wanted to show you though, if I go to my FaceTime, it's a completely different camera right there. Oh, so this is fantastic. And even if we stop it, just going to stop it over here in OBS, it just gives us kind of the error that OBS, the strange icon that it is not feeding a source, okay? But I'm full-heartedly in Zoom, and let me go to audio, and our speaker is going to be my interface, and then my microphone is going to be my interface, okay? And that's just this mic going into there. However, when you're like, well, what do I do for all the other attributes? Like I'm showcasing a DAW or something like that, or the way certain things sound. Well, this is how you do it, and it's actually not too bad. So we're going to go into, we can close this and minimize OBS for right now. And then I'm going to start a meeting, and it's going to be a meeting with myself. And we can start the meeting and unmute, and you see I am getting levels if I bring me down. So if you didn't hear that, you probably didn't hear me because I brought down my levels on the interface. So what happens next is bringing in your computer. And so we're going to go to share screen and click on that. And even as a guest, you're going to want to go to Advanced Computer Audio. I don't know if there's any, oh yes, that is a great option, is if you want to make it the stereo high fidelity, if you're showcasing something from a DAW, from any audio source that you want to be a little bit more. Even if it is a mono source, this gives you a little bit more bandwidth for your audio, at least in dynamic range. So that's an option. And then we simply hit share, and now you'll see that you would be sharing your computer audio. And it's just that simple. So I have my video and all that, and now let's check it out. I'm just going to make this tiny and go back to OBS. Okay. And then let's make OBS tiny. It's hard working in a small screen. Okay. And now that I have studio mode on, you'll see I'm in Zoom, if you can see at the top here, but I can still go Option 2, and let's fade it. There we go. And so this would be the feed that you're seeing in the little window, the Zoom window, when it comes to different things. So that's the picture-in-picture, all that, and then we can ready just the image. You may want to adjust this once you start playing with it on your own. And of course you have free will to do whatever you want. And I'm just going to Option F this, and there's my screen. So I'm talking about that. I'm showcasing that. Gonna go ready this and cut back to this, and then ready one and cut to that. Okay, so you can see there's a lot to it. And of course, if I wanted to play it out, I could ready 4, and here we go. We're going to fade to 4.
Fifth and hopefully last test run here, balancing out the audio between the interface-like device, the preamps within the software, and of course the
right now I'm
wireless
just
mic
checking
system that
out.
I'm using. So right now it is set that the interface, is slightly above Unity. Perhaps that's Unity, and we're at -12 there. I believe that's feeding out a
So
-6,
we're gonna just
and then this is down to -18.
cut back to me, and seems I moved my camera. So what we saw there was the audio coming out, and it's really hard to test these things without a person. This is a kind of trial and error. Even just me producing this is just a very difficult concept, and I know a lot of people can get it right and deal with it great, and even like I'm worried about my audio levels the whole time. So sometimes you'll need to test record, and then sometimes you'll need to also I coined the phrase transmission engineer for someone just to be in a different room and listen and look critically at the stream to make sure it looks good, even if it looks okay on my screen. YouTube, Zoom, and even OBS does not equate to always having the best meters or not having any meters for the outgoing audio. And then in addition to that, is it focused? Because I'm looking at tiny screens, is the lighting good? Stuff like that. So just be forewarned about that. But again, to bring it into Zoom, we just bring in the video. You can have all those audio components already built in OBS. They just get negated as they come into Zoom, and then just bring in your interface or whatever microphone you're feeding. And then during, like this instance of a Zoom call here, you will just bring in your shared computer sounds, just like that. Okay, so I will always work with each and every remote guest to make sure that the ins and the outs of both audio and video are being heard. We're hearing your computer, we're hearing your voice, you're hearing us in multiple different microphones, because we send various microphones depending on what is needed on the actual end in the studio. And so I think it's always a kind of a great thing to treat this as a sound check, line check, like you would any other production. Okay, and that again is my point, to make your end, the remote, a production, because my crew and me, we don't have the control over it. And so I'm trying to empower you to, showcase your best content in these different ways. And if you're looking to do something that's outside of what we covered today, then that's cool too. We can definitely talk about that. prior to the production, and I can help you set it up, and we can kind of work together over that. All right. So thanks for hanging out with me. Once again, I'm John Cost. Here is my contact information. Please feel free to hit me up, and I would be very, very happy to help you make better content for my class's production. Okay, it really would benefit me as well, but hopefully you could get something out of it that allows you to use this in other creative functions if you haven't before. All right, so with that, I say goodbye, and I'm going to shut down my Zoom, all the windows that we've opened. Okay, and then we're going to go to OBS and turn off the virtual camera, kill that, and goodbye.